This is 50 crazy and bizarre toy facts from Odd Stats. Hello Kitty, created by the Japanese company Sanrio in 1974, is not officially a cat. She's a British schoolgirl who lives outside London, has a twin sister named Mimi, and loves baking cookies. Scrabble was invented by architect Alfred Butts in 1931. He first called it Lexico because it was based on word building and his fascination with letter frequencies in English. Later, he renamed it Crisscross Words. Then entrepreneur James Brunot bought the rights. In 1948, made some rule tweaks and rebranded it as Scrabble. Now Hasbro owns the rights for Scrabble in the US and Canada, and Mattel owns the rights for Scrabble in the rest of the world. Rubik's Cube combinations. A standard 3x3 Rubik's Cube has 43 quintillion possible configurations. Furbies were banned in U.S. intelligence offices, feared to record speech.
The first teddy bear was named after U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt in 1902 when President Roosevelt was on a hunting trip in Mississippi. After an unsuccessful hunt, guides tied a black bear to a tree and suggested Roosevelt shoot it. He refused, saying it was unsportsmanlike.
Newspapers picked up the story, and a Brooklyn shop owner, Morris Micdom, created a stuffed toy bear and called it Teddy's Bear. Lego has held the Guinness World Record for largest tire manufacturer by volume since 2011. Lego makes around 300 million toy tires every year, which is more than any real tire company like Bridgestone, Michelin, or Goodyear. The world's most expensive Barbie ever sold was auctioned in 2010 for $302,500. She was designed by Australian jewelry designer Stefano Canturi. The doll wore a black strapless evening dress and a necklace featuring a 1-carat pink diamond surrounded by 3 carats of white diamonds. Play-Doh was originally invented as wallpaper cleaner. In the 1930s, a company called Kutal Products in Cincinnati made a dough-like compound used to clean coal soot off wallpaper. Homes heated with coal often left walls dirty, and this dough was a handy cleaner. By the 1950s, when cleaner heating methods made the product unnecessary, the company faced bankruptcy. A teacher discovered that the dough was great for arts and crafts in classrooms because it was soft, non-toxic, and reusable. The product was rebranded as Play-Doh in 1956, launched in bright colors, and sold as a children's toy instead of a cleaning supply. Since then, over 3 billion cans of Play-Doh have been sold worldwide. The Viewmaster was originally marketed as an educational tool, not a toy. Early reels included national parks, famous cities, and cultural sites, and they were sold in places like photography shops and travel stores, not toy aisles. One of the rarest Star Wars action figures ever made is the Boba Fett prototype with a rocket-firing backpack. It was designed by Kenner in the late 1970s as part of the Star Wars line, but was quickly pulled from production because of safety concerns. Most of these figures never reached stores, but some survived. One of them sold at auction for $150,000, making it one of the most expensive action figures ever. The world's tallest teddy bear is over 63 feet tall.
Actually, this is the real photo.
The Slinky is one of those classic toys that only exists because of a happy accident. In 1943, naval engineer Richard James was working in a Philadelphia shipyard. He was testing tension springs to stabilize sensitive instruments on ships. One spring fell off his desk, and instead of just dropping, it walked end over end across the floor. James realized kids might love it as a toy. He and his wife Betty James launched the Slinky in 1945. The first batch of 400 Slinkies sold out in 90 minutes at Gimbel's department store. Since then, more than 300 million Slinkies have been sold worldwide. Lego bricks are made from ABS plastic, which is highly durable and can withstand high temperatures. In 1969, Mattel designed the Hot Wheels Volkswagen Beach Bomb, a tiny VW bus with surfboards sticking out of the back. One was sold for $72,000 at auction in 2000.
In the early 1900s, when teddy bears first became popular in both the US and Germany, manufacturers experimented with materials. Some early high-end bears were made with actual bear fur. These versions were rare and expensive, aimed at wealthy families who wanted more realistic-looking toys. Since her debut in 1959, Barbie has had over 200 careers, ranging from surgeon to video game developer. In 1965, Mattel released Astronaut Barbie, 4 years before NASA allowed women in its astronaut training program. The first edition of Monopoly came out in 1933 to 1935, originally handmade by Charles Darrow, the game's inventor. Darrow created sets using oilcloth for the board and wooden pieces, and he sold them locally before Parker Brothers picked up the rights in 1935. Only a few of these early handmade sets survive today. In 2010, one of the first sets sold at auction for $146,500. In 1952, Mr. Potato Head became the first toy ever advertised on television. The original version was quite different from what we know today. Kids were expected to supply a real potato and stick in the plastic eyes, noses, mouths, and hats. Because of this, early versions caused some problems. Real potatoes would rot and attract bugs. By 1964, Hasbro changed the design to include a plastic potato body, which made it safer and more practical. The TV commercial was a huge hit, and Mr. Potato Head became one of the most successful toys of the 20th century. The Transformers franchise began with two Japanese toy lines from Takara, Diaclone and Microchange. Diaclone featured vehicles and robots piloted by inch-tall figures, while Microchange focused on transforming everyday objects like cameras and guns into robots. In 1984, Hasbro licensed these lines, rebranded them as Transformers, and created the iconic Autobots vs. Decepticons narrative with Marvel's help.
Who doesn't love snow at Christmas? Or on the Christmas tree? And if it's fire resistant, even better!
From the late 1800s through the mid-20th century, asbestos was widely sold as artificial snow, even as a toy for children to play with. Hollywood used asbestos snow in famous movies, The Wizard of Oz in 1939 and It's a Wonderful Life in 1946. At the time, the severe risks of asbestos exposure weren't widely recognized. The global toy market exceeded $125 billion in 2023. And here are our top 5 toy companies worldwide ranked by annual revenue. The Lego Group, $9.7 billion. Bandai Namco Holdings, $7.0 billion. Mattel, $5.5 billion. Hasbro, $5 billion. And Spin Master, $1.9 billion. The Alpha Black Lotus from Magic the Gathering's 1993 limited edition set shattered records when it sold for a staggering $3 million in a private transaction in April 2024. Graded a perfect CGC pristine 10, equivalent to a flawless 10 out of 10, with impeccable centering, edges, corners, and surface quality visible even under magnification, making it truly one of a kind among the roughly 1,100 Alpha Black Lotuses ever printed. Before Nerf has expanded into a massive brand with blasters, sports equipment, and even video games, their first product was a 4-inch polyurethane foam ball, marketed as the world's first indoor ball, released in 1969 by Parker Brothers. Hasbro acquired the Nerf brand in 1991. The Jack-in-the-Box toy dates back to 16th century Germany, inspired by a devil-in-a-box prank. The 1500s versions were wooden or metal boxes when turned, released a spring-loaded devil or jester. It was known as Schockteufel in German, what you can translate as devil in a box. The first home video game console was the Magnavox Odyssey, released in 1972. It didn't have any sound, just visuals. The graphics were just simple white squares and lines. About 350,000 units were sold between 1972 to 1975.
Lego produces more than 36 billion bricks each year. On average, Lego sells about 7 sets every second worldwide. That adds up to over 220 million sets per year. Lego minifigures are considered the largest population in the world, with more than 8 billion made. Star Wars toys made more money than the original film in its first year. Star Wars: A New Hope, 1977, was a box office smash, earning about $775 million worldwide, $190 million in its first year. Meanwhile, Kenner Products had the toy license. Star Wars toys generated more than $100 million in sales in the first year alone. Within just a few years, toy sales had outpaced box office revenue. By the early 1980s, Star Wars toys had earned over $1 billion, dwarfing the film's original run revenue. The yo-yo is over 2,500 years old and was once used as a hunting tool in the Philippines. The oldest known ones were made of wood, metal, and painted terracotta, found in Greece around 500 BCE. They weren't toys at first, but were used in rituals and as status symbols. In the 1920s, a Filipino immigrant named Pedro Flores brought the yo-yo to the US, and it became a worldwide hit. Matchbox cars were named because they fit inside a matchbox. In 1953, a British die-cast company called Lesney Products created a small toy road roller. One of the founder's daughters wanted to take it to school, but her teacher only allowed toys if they could fit inside a standard matchbox. To make it school-friendly, they packaged the tiny toy in an actual matchbox. The idea stuck. The line of mini die-cast vehicles became known as Matchbox cars. Nintendo's first product was handmade playing cards called Hanafuda, used for traditional Japanese games. Founded in 1889, Nintendo was primarily a playing card company until the 1970s when they started experimenting with electronic toys and arcade machines, then moving into video game consoles.
Darth Vader is the most sold Star Wars action figure.
Tamagotchi's death toll. By 2010, over 76 million Tamagotchi virtual pets had died due to neglect. The Pikachu Illustrator card, one of the rarest Pokemon trading card game items ever produced, fetched a record-breaking $5.275 million in a private sale in July 2021 to YouTuber and wrestler Logan Paul.
The most dangerous toy in history. The Gilbert U-238 Atomic Energy Lab was sold between 1950 and 1951. The kit included a Geiger counter to detect radiation, a cloud chamber to watch atomic particle trails, an electroscope and spinthariscope. And yes, real uranium ore samples, U-238 and other isotopes. The idea was to inspire kids to learn nuclear science during the atomic age. Less than 5,000 units were ever sold, and today surviving kits are worth $10,000 to $20,000 to collectors.
On February 13, 1997, a massive storm hit the container ship Tokyo Express off the coast of Cornwall, UK. The ship was rocked by huge waves, causing 62 containers to fall overboard. One of those containers carried nearly 4.8 million Lego pieces. Ironically, many of the pieces were sea-themed: octopuses, seahorses, and scuba gear. For decades, these Lego pieces have been washing up on beaches in Cornwall, as well as Netherlands, Ireland, and even the US. In 1996, Mattel released the Snack Time Cabbage Patch Kid, which had a mechanical mouth designed to chew plastic food accessories. The doll worked by using rotating motorized rollers that pulled food into its mouth. But the rollers didn't stop once they started. That meant if a child's finger or hair got caught, the doll would just keep chewing. By early 1997, Mattel had to recall nearly 500,000 Snack Time Cabbage Patch dolls from the market. Most expensive video game ever sold. In 2021, a sealed copy of Super Mario Bros. For the NES sold at auction for a record-breaking $2 million. In 2006, McDonald's pushed the IZ toy, a dancing speaker bot meant to be the next Furby. Instead, its jerky movements and eerie glow made it a nightmare fuel for kids, earning it a spot on Worst Toys Ever lists and 0 sequels. Matryoshka dolls, often called Russian nesting dolls, are one of the most recognizable cultural toys in the world. The first set was carved in 1890 by Russian craftsman Vasily Zvozduchkin and painted by Sergei Malyutin. A traditional Matryoshka set starts with a large wooden doll, which opens to reveal a smaller one inside, and so on.
The Nintendo PlayStation? Around 200 prototypes of such console were made, and one of them sold at auction in 2020 for $360,000. In the late 1980s, Sony and Nintendo teamed up to create a new console that would use CD-ROM technology. It was called the Nintendo PlayStation. But in 1991, at CES, Nintendo shocked everyone by announcing they were instead partnering with Philips, leaving Sony hanging. Angry Sony decided to continue the project alone, and in 1994, they released the first Sony PlayStation.
The name Gashapon comes from the sound gasha, the cranking noise of the vending machine, and pan, the popping sound of the capsule dropping. In Japan, capsule toys are a billion-dollar industry. Capsules can contain minifigures, keychains, charms, or even quirky everyday items. Prices usually range from 100 to 500 yen, $1 to $5.
In the 1970s, LEGO faced legal battles with competitors who made similar interlocking brick toys. One of the biggest cases came in 1979 when LEGO sued Tyco Toys for copying their stud and tube brick system. LEGO argued that its bricks were unique, but courts in many countries ruled that the basic brick design was too functional to be protected by patent. LEGO's original patents had expired in 1978, which opened the door for competitors. Playmobil figures have never changed their smiling face. They were first introduced in 1974 by German inventor Hans Beck. From the beginning, every figure had the same iconic smiling face. 2 black dot eyes, 1 simple curved smile. In the 1980s, Cabbage Patch Kids dolls triggered actual Black Friday-style riots in stores, with parents fighting over the adoptable babies. The frenzy was so intense that the company couldn't keep up, leading to scalping and lawsuits, proving toy producers can accidentally start a cultural war. The world's largest toy distributor is McDonald's, thanks to Happy Meals. Since their introduction in 1979, Happy Meals have included toys, often tied to movies, TV shows, or popular brands. McDonald's distributes over 1 billion toys every year, more than any toy company like Hasbro, LEGO, or Mattel. When Star Wars: A New Hope exploded in popularity in mid-1977, demand for toys was off the charts. But Kenner had no action figures ready for the holiday season. Instead of losing the Christmas market, Kenner pulled a bold move. They sold empty boxes. Early Bird certificate package set contained a cardboard display stand with Star Wars artwork, stickers and membership materials, a voucher kids could mail in to receive the first 4 action figures, Luke, Leia, Chewbacca, and R2-D2, when they were manufactured in early 1978. Parents actually bought these empty boxes for Christmas, and kids waited months for their toys to arrive. Action figure was invented to avoid the word doll. When Hasbro launched G.I. Joe in 1964, they marketed it as an action figure because they feared boys wouldn't buy a doll.
He-Man was created to sell toys, not the other way around. The Masters of the Universe cartoon was specifically made to market Mattel's toy line. Same with the Transformers show in the 1980s.
Some action figures become valuable due to production errors, like the 1978 Star Wars telescoping lightsaber Darth Vader, with a lightsaber extended from the arm. Only a few exist, making them worth thousands.
Action figure from LEGO? LEGO tried a departure from bricks toward action figure hybrids in 2002-2003 with Galador. It was poorly received and is often cited as one of LEGO's biggest missteps, contributing to financial trouble before a leadership shakeup.
1979 Kenner Alien Xenomorph with realistic jaw action, probably the most controversial action figure ever. The 18-inch tall figure featured a translucent, toothy skull, a shiny black body, and a spring-loaded inner jaw. Parents and retailers were outraged that a toy tied to an adult horror film was sold to kids, leading to its quick discontinuation. If you like this video and want to watch more similar, don't forget to subscribe and give us a thumb up. Thanks for watching.